All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with me. I had a month off with a back injury. I know I've been complaining about it, well, at least saying it the last few videos, but I just really want to thank you for sticking around. You know how it is when you're not relevant on YouTube weekly, or like some people are daily. Whatever, doesn't really matter. Just wanted to show you the update on my 360 de-stroked to a 352 using the full forge rotating assembly from Mopar. I did take out the rods, if you remember, because they were raw and needed a lot of work. And I used eagle rods. So on this, my most recent update here is, hold on, let me get my pointer. Got a Mancini Racing bracket set up. It's all stock factory type of stuff, but it has this curve. You know, it's kind of annoying because I have another bracket that's straight, and I had to use these spacers and this longer spacer to get the alternator to be lined up. So it looks pretty good from here. I was thinking about rating my other 340 in the Duster for the Summit bracket. The thing that bothers me is right over here. Kind of, you see that bend? It's like it comes off this pulley straight and it kind of bends over a little bit. It seems like the alternator is nose down. Does that look a little nose down to you? It does to me. Very annoying. Throwing belts really suck. Still got to put my fuel pump in. I'll be using a Carter street strip mechanical. It'll be fine for break-in. I'll need an electric pump later. Single springs. Yep, everything comes apart after cam break-in. You don't want too much pressure on that spring. This Moroso pulley, everything lined up, but it was just off just a shade. And I noticed there was an X on all of these holes here, but not here. This was always the problem one. So what I did was that I opened each hole up by a 32nd of an inch with a drill bit, and she popped right on. I also had to use right here, it's a spacer off the fluid damper, and this is an AR engineering piece. I forget exactly how thick it is, but it moved this out very close to this. I was a little worried about my math, so I picked up a second piece just in case I needed that much more. You know, when you're looking at stuff and it's a little hard to measure, it is what it is. This right here, this should be fun and interesting. Somebody was saying something about port matching, and some guys are like, you'll get great power. Other guys are like, oh, it's almost nothing. Well, every little bit helps. I want to show you the port match. And the crazy thing was that this was done. Let me see, come on. This was done separately to really get that port matched really, really well. Kind of want to do this while it's the heads and the intake are on the engine. This way, it's a really, really good port match. You see just like the barest little tip right there. You can see it's shiny. But everything else, you know, I can look down. I don't know if I can really get it with the camera here. It seems really difficult. You can kind of stick your head in places where the camera can't quite reach. It's difficult, but the port matching is really nice. It's really, really very, very close. So that's always good for a few more horsepower. And while you're doing stuff like this, I have no idea why you wouldn't want to go this route. Is it necessary for your everyday car? Yeah, probably not. Would it help? Yeah, just a little bit. But let me show you something. I had to mill this intake to fit. If you notice, some of the holes on this side were oblong a little bit, just to help out some of the bolts to get in there a lot easier. You should always check that. We had it around here, so there it is. For checking the inside, this mirror is very handy. You just stick it down in here like this. You have to angle it around a little bit, but at least you can see if your bolt holes line up and how much you may want to take off. Sometimes you need just a little bit. A little black Sharpie, you can just come around here, just draw a little line and say it was tight in this area, and we'll take off about 1/8 of an inch. One more if you need it. And then we can really get this on, because I'd rather open up the bolt holes. It's just easy to do. You could do it with Dremel, a die grinder, an aggressive bit would really help. When they grab and jump, boy do they grab and jump. Let me show you how the other intake fits. It's a lot different, by a lot. These gaskets are held on by a little Scotch tape. Freiberg is right, this junk is heavy, even without carburetors. Woo. Let me see if I can get these bolt holes kind of equaled out a little bit. Need to, they look pretty good. This intake, it's a Mopar M1 tunnel ram. The bolt holes are lining up really nice. However, if you come take a look down the ports, these are a bit harder to see than anything. Depends on the port. Now that brown is the gasket that's supplied by Mopar, and this top you can move around, so I wouldn't pay attention to that immediate shining line that you see, because this upper plenum just gets bolted to the lower plenum, secured by these nuts, one here, one there, same on the other side. Being able to take this top off really helps when it comes time for porting. What you got to do is look down. Okay, let's see. That might work. Really look down in there. It's kind of hard to see. There it is. Yeah, these intakes do require a good bit of work to port match. But when you port match a tunnel ram, and everything's going to flow really, really nice and get in there nice and easy. Low restriction. Let me see. I don't know how the rest of the world does this, or even how well it's picking up. But these ports can use a massage, and certainly this upper plenum to the lower plenum. This should be worth some good power. The problem is, I'm not so sure I want to cut this up, because the heads were milled down pretty good when Hughes ported them, and being that it drops it, this now fits with no intake manifold gasket. I got to mill the head or the intake. Most people mill the intake. Milling the head, I mean, this is all an extension of the, from the intake valve all the way up into the bottom of the carb. There's essentially one path that has to be worked together as one, and you calculate the entire length in the plenum area when you start trying to make some real good steam. When you're trying to make a lot of power, all this comes into play. So some guys are like, oh, you don't want to shorten the head. Oh, you don't want to, it's back and forth. It's a catch-22. I don't think I'm going to mill this one so quickly, especially that these are using thin head gaskets. Well, pretty thin. Then it's, it's not the stock 28. I got a positive piston of about 18. But, the head is milled, so all this gets thrown off and becomes a pain in the ass. Right now, I need push rods, and I'm waiting for the Rocket Geometry kit from Mike over at B3. And basically, that's going to take the rocker shaft, let me get it a little more, there we go. What we're going to do is we're going to take the rocker shaft, move it up a little bit and back a little bit, so the push rod angle that comes in and contacts here becomes a little bit more straightened out. It'll give us a better contact point here, and the rocker will be more set up, squared up, and have a more narrow path over the valve tip. When I initially did this, I got a pretty good sweep. It was only, I don't know, it was a little wide for my taste, but it was about 15 to 20 thousandths wide. You know, I've got them a lot tighter of a lash. You know, of a distance. Here's a little bit of that dicum. Where are we? You know, a little bit of the dicum's left. The narrower the better, but you know, as they say, it's not the end all. We try to do what we can with these things. But the push rod angle coming into the bottom of this adjuster was very severe, like it was going this way and then meeting the rocker, which will go like this. Not so good. You want them more straightened out. It's a little bit hard with the 59-degree tappet angle. I don't know why Chrysler stuck with that, but that's what they did. That's what we live with, unless you get a race block. And that race block still has the 59-degree lifter angle. It just makes camshafts very inexpensive compared to buying a blank, sending it out, having it ground, send it back. You're paying shipping 1, 2, 3 times, and to have the cam custom ground, the cam blank is, I don't know, what are they going for? $300 these days, if you can find one? That's a lot of money just for a camshaft. I'll live with a little bit less performance on a bad lift angle. I'm not racing for the money. I'm not trying to break world records. All right, well, that's my update. That's where I'm at. And I don't know what else to tell you guys. I've already sucked up about 13 minutes of your time, so no sense of rambling on. Thanks for sticking with me. Hopefully I'll have a little something better to show you, a little bit more progress next time around. I have to go clean up and put my engine stand together. You could see the engine stand I slapped together. You know, I was thinking about how I was going to do it. It was my first time out. My welding skills are horrible, but you can find it in the video in the list down below. It's 340 test stand run engine, and that's the 340 in the Duster. And I have to set up the test run stand again. I do all the wiring. It's gonna be a pain in the ass, but once I get that out of the way, at least I can fire up the motor to show you it running. I'm sure like everything else, there'll be some little disasters in there we can all poke fun and have a good laugh at. But you know, that's how it works, right? All right, until next time, enjoy your day.